Welcome everyone to another episode of the Yoga Sutras. This is for everyone that is interested in recognizing the true self and also recognizing the underlying unified nature that already actually exists. And the reason that we are usually so unaware of this unified essence is because we don't have any distance to thoughts and to the identification with these kind of thoughts. And so we are just in experience most of the time. Like you are in experience, you're in your experience. You don't have a distance to experience. And that's why at some point these two components are actually really essential. The two components being that experience has to be buffered with a deeper recognition of what you are as awareness. At some point, either or will need to happen. So you can take a very expansive path, a path that actually goes over experience, and you will come to a point where there is no going further, where you need to actually realize more what you are as awareness, and abiding stronger in awareness brings different experiences to you also. So these two components are actually sort of complementing one another. And in the Vedic tradition, there is also this saying that you are here for bhogam and apavargam, which means you are here for enjoyment, experiences, and for liberation, apavargam. And experience is meant to ultimately catapult you towards wanting to find out what you are, towards liberation, towards realization, towards self-recognition. So the deep spiritual experiences, they're always actually meant to point you back also to what you are as awareness, to the one that is aware of those experiences, but not in them. And when we talk about oneness experiences, unity experiences, true oneness experiences, it is that something is revealed inside of you as you. So it isn't a telepathic experience, it isn't an empathy experience, because you have, in the moment of that oneness experience, you don't have the perception that something happens actually outside of yourself. So there's no more duality. Duality collapses. Something is revealed inside of yourself. And how these experiences then start to be interpreted is often colored by your memory. For example, if you have a true oneness experience with another person, then their thoughts get revealed not as their thoughts, but as your own distinct thought forms that you actually identify with, but that aren't distinctly yours. Only afterwards do you have the distance to it to see and to recognize and to understand what is actually happening, or you are realized, you are abiding as awareness, and there is this natural distance to thoughts that are arising inside the space is just established. It is just a different vision board altogether that you actually then have. There's a different widening that happens. So Patanjali talks about these oneness experiences, these union experiences, both that can happen with objects, something that is perceived outside of yourself, whether that's a person, a tree, whatever it is, and how this is in the beginning, these experiences is colored by your memory. For example, you have a oneness experience with a person or with I don't know, with a plant or a tree or whatever it is. Many of you have had those moments, and then your mind kicks in and colors it by your conceptual understanding of that object or your memory of that object. It's how oftentimes we actually keep distinct also phenomena in place. We keep recreating an idea of an object, for example, not the object as such, and are opened to the revelation of the moment. It is always colored then by an interpretation that is what colored by our memories, our conceptual learning, etc. So he says that when you actually start to abide deeper as awareness, the subjective stance doesn't arise so much because you're simply observing. The faculty of seeing, the seeing is heightened. You are simply the seeing in that moment. And what happens is that an object that is perceived as outside of yourself and usually overlaid with our conceptual knowledge of it or what we have learned or digested, read, that can actually reveal itself in a much higher degree. There's a truth revealed about objects from inside yourself. You start seeing them inside of yourself, as yourself. The distance collapses, but because your subjective stance isn't immediately re-established, you actually have a revelation of the object as its expression is at that moment of time. And underlying of all these experiences, again, is not the any form of weird powers or whatever. It is more and more you're meant to be pointed back to what you essentially are. And what you essentially are doesn't have the subjective stance, and it doesn't have any then connotation of itself, any self-assumption, any self-consciousness even in that moment. There is no, then it wouldn't be an actual oneness experience. Because again, the object then shines inside of you as you. There's nothing else there that has the typical standpoints and evaluations of this happening. So he says in the beginning, like in the last sutta, he said, in the beginning there are all these mental recollections, evaluations, descriptions. And once that memory is cleared, then it actually, an object can shine more clearly as it expresses itself. Also, actually, always pointing back to what is more essential about anything actually than just the form or the expression or the thoughts or the emotions, or we so often evaluate people by what comes out of their mouth, which is often just like the immediate vomiting almost of their mental identification. There's always something behind that too. But at least for this constructed sense of self, there's a deeper, a deeper, a more accurate perception can also happen from that stance. So that's that sutra that says that when the memory is cleared and you are actually abiding as awareness, objects can reveal themselves in their expression as they are, and also in their nature as they are, namely as part of what is arising within your awareness, as a part of you, as a part of what is always, eternally, and already unified, non-dual, one. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope that this also helps you with your own union experiences and recognition of this beautiful, essential, unified nature that we are all part of. Namaste.